Techno Tim is a student in the Marlborough Grad School MAT program like the rest of you. And Techno has actually been through a couple of different parts of the program and will soon be, or I guess he's in Capstone 1 right now. But last term, he did an independent study in which he created the island here in Jokadia for his landscape architecture students. So now I'm going to turn it over to you, Techno, and I figure we can probably just open our maps and click on your land to get there, or do you want to hand out landmarks?
I think probably just clicking and going would be the best thing.
Okay.
So if everyone can access their maps, you're looking for North Country.
So once you're on your map, you're going to have to look in the bottom right corner. Now this is the big map, not the mini map. It's the button left of mini map. The bottom right corner is a zoom slider. You want to move it to the left, not all the way, about halfway, so that you can see some of the other regions.
So I guess I will meet you all there.
Okay, I did have to zoom mine out most of the way, and one of the ways that I can find it is there's a green ball there now. It's to the west of us. And if anybody needs any help, and if anybody can't get there, I'll teleport you.
Solana, can you hear me?
We materialized out behind our school. Is my voice better now, Esme?
It's great. Give us a moment while we gather. I'm going to start teleporting people.
Don't you just love to be able to fly?
Yes, yes.
Danius, are you here? Okay, Techno.
Welcome everyone to North Country Island. I started this project sometime back in October of last year. And I have to tell you, if you ever get to the point of where you have a site here, this lady over here in the green sweater is an invaluable resource. Jokay has been there 24/7 for some of the growing pains that I've had to go through with this site. I started this site for my landscape design students. It's very hard in landscape architecture to be able to see and think in 3 dimensions. And it was physically impossible for me to transport my students to different sites to perform different landscape operations. And having taken a course from Esme before in virtual worlds, I realized that I had the answer right at my fingertips. So we looked around for a site, and Jokay had the best site that we could find that was student-friendly. I spent a lot of time in Second Life and found that it just wasn't the right place for high school kids to be. I teach 9 through 12. And so I came to this site in October, and with Esme's help and Jokay's help, created what you see here. And this is still a work in progress. It took hours and hours and hours of time to make what we have here happen. But I've introduced half of my class to this site already, and I'm finding that it's a wonderful place for the kids to be. So please feel free to ask questions as I kind of take you on a whirlwind tour. This is the main island, and what I've done on this island is assigned some of my students that are my guinea pigs houses. I created all of these houses and all of the landscape and everything else, and put my students in here with the assignment that they were to learn how to use some of the tools that we have to use in Jokaydiagrid. As far as drawing and creating and doing what you need to do, you have a set of tools in your build box that you have to become very proficient with. I didn't want them doing all of their experiments and what have you down here because we put a lot of time in creating this environment. So what I did was, because this is a virtual world and we have the latitude of expanding and going up, I created a sandbox for my students to be in. So if I could ask you all to go for a fly with me, you're going to go straight up, and if you would land on the sandbox up above us, I can show you some of the things that we do. As you look around, you're going to see a lot of different things up here. This is where I bring all of my students so that they can get familiar with a lot of the tools that are available to us. here.
Yes, hang on. If you're stuck underneath, then just go to the left or right until you come to the edge of it and then fly up some more. And I'll start teleporting people. If I offer you a teleport and you're already here, don't worry about it. I'm just going down the list. Okay, all here.
Okay. So this is our sandbox. If you've ever been to Second Life, you know that sandboxes are a big thing as far as allowing people to be creative. Again, this is a work in progress. And what I do is I send my students here to work on things like scripts and some of the other cool stuff that we can do in Jokaydiagrid. And I've actually started to mimic a place, and I believe it's called the Crystal Palace in Second Life, where you learn how to do prims. Now, prims, as you'll soon learn, are the basis on constructing anything in Jokaydiagrid. You start with a box or a circle or what have you, and you create all sorts of neat things. And this is something that I'm sure Esme's going to have you practice with over the next few months that you're all together. But this is where a lot of this comes from. One of the best resources is to go to the center of town, if you will. Jokay can tell you more about where these places are located. But she has structures located all over the big island that will give you clothes and furniture and a lot of the scripts that you see us using here. What I found with my students is once you give them a script and teach them the basics of the scripts, they can start modifying and experimenting with those scripts. And you'll see some of the things going on here in the sandbox. Like the propeller behind you that's rotating, there's a script that they need to write for that. There's another script to get the jet flame to come out of the back of it. When you were with Esme a few minutes ago, you'll notice the nice warm campfire that we had. There are scripts that you learn to be able to control the campfire as well. So this is our sandbox, and this is where the students learn how to do the things that they do downstairs, if you will, down on the mainland. I also use this virtual world for another class that I teach in alternative energy. Now, I have a third floor. I'm not going to take you there now because of lack of time, but you're always welcome to come back, of course. And I have a third floor here that is equipped with solar panels, wind turbines, things like that, because one of the things that I teach my students is self-sustainability and alternative energy. So this is one of these environments where you can let your imagination just run as far as you want to let it run. Any questions? right now I have 4 students, Dennis, that are my guinea pigs. The students come in during class time, which is a 3-hour block of time every other day. And what I've found is the students are so excited about being here that they've asked to take their laptops home with them so that they can continue being on here in the evening. This indicates to me that there is a genuine interest, and I have a class of 15 next fall, and after working on things this summer, I'm going to be taking the entire class in here and start giving them assignments. Yes, my students do. We have a thing available in the States called the Perkins Foundation, or Perkins Grant. And I've been fortunate enough to have a good grant writer here at school. And with the Technology in the 21st Century initiative, I'm finding that we can get things for our classrooms that we normally would not have. So I have a class of 15 students. Each one has their own laptop, mouse, and earphones, or headset that they're responsible for. The students that I have in my class have a wide range of expertise as far as computers go. Some of them don't like being on computers, but what I'm finding is that once they have visited the site, things quickly change. The other thing that I'm finding, especially with the 4 students that I've got on board right now, is that there's a lot of different bonding that goes on in Jokaydia that I've not seen in class. So there are some friendships that are developing with the 4 students that are in now that is spreading to the rest of the class fairly rapidly. As I say, we're a career center, career tech center, but we get students from 2 or 3 sending schools in the area that are just academic students. Sense here, Fair, is of their 3-dimensional surroundings. A lot of us think in 1 dimension, unfortunately. And in my teaching this for going on 12 years, I have students who have trouble with being in a 3-dimensional world and being able to think in a 3-dimensional world. And I think this helps them immensely, because this is a virtual world, but it's also 3-dimensional. And I think it sharpens their senses so that they can think in more of a 3-dimensional world than a 1-dimensional. Absolutely. It's a good, safe environment for them to learn and play and grow. I've just created upstairs on the building that I'm developing to the back something that I saw on one of the TED Talks that fascinated me. We're trying to develop a sense of creativity in all of our students, whether they're landscape students or anywhere else. And I saw this thing called the 10-block challenge, which intrigued me to the point of where I just had to copy it. So on the 2nd floor, each one of my students will create 10 cubes from the toolbar. And with those 10 cubes, they have to make something. They can use their imagination. The only limitations are the walls and the ceiling of the room that they have. And so this is going to be an interesting thing to be able to see some of the different concepts and some of the different imaginative, creative things that these students can do. It's also going to give them a really good handle on how to work rooms in virtual worlds. The relationships in the classroom, absolutely. What I'm finding is students that wouldn't normally associate or talk with other students in the class have now started sharing their adventures into Jokaydiagrid with the other students. This not only gets the other students excited about the possibility of being here, but it also carries throughout the rest of the school. I'm finding that the students that come in here that bond with each other, they're a little more open now and they act differently when they're out in the halls of school. As far as the assessment goes, what I'm doing right now is, again, I've got my lab rats, my 4 lab rats, I call them, in the grid, and they are helping me develop some guidelines for assessment. Now, the other thing that's going to happen here also is that incorporating other technologies into this project, what I'm going to have the students do is actually film their progress as far as the development of landscape around their house. So the students, we use a program called Jing. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of it. It's a screen capture program. Really great tool as far as the kids capturing and remembering what they've done. The other thing that we do is we work with Camtasia. And so the overall assessment here is the students are going to make a film or a little video of the progress that they've made in their individual houses. The other thing that the students are going to do is once the house is done, is they have to document the trees and all of the landscape material and come up with a price list so that they can quote it just as though they were quoting a real job. And finally, once they're all done, we're all going to meet like you folks have met today, and all of my students are going to do a walk around of each one of their fellow students' houses. And the students are going to explain the thoughts and the concept behind the designs that they have.
I think we're going to stop there. But again, if you have questions for Tim, either write them in chat or let me know that you want me to ask him. And I'm sure that we can connect with him again sometime this term, or I can talk to him by email.
And you're always welcome to come up and try things here. The only thing that I would ask that you do is remember that if you're experimenting here and trying things here, to delete them or erase them before you leave. I don't have permission to erase anything that you draw or create up here. So you kind of have to take your baggage with you.
We're going to head back to the fire pit, so when you get a chance, click in Inventory, find the landmark for the welcome area at Marlboro Grad Center, or you can use your map to get back.